Give it up for Charlie Fritsch.
Thank you. I figured this might not be the most popular topic, but glad you guys could join. A little bit of background. I started in the hotel industry long before we started our software business in the hotel industry. I've owned a hotel real estate brokerage firm that lists and sells hotels, and I've had that company for 25 years. We also owned a hotel. We had done capital markets advisory for hotels, arranging mortgages for hotels. Oh, great. Thank you. So that was how I got started in the industry. And analyzing hotel profit and loss statements and all of the reporting for hotels, we've basically looking at the output of the accounting systems and all of the software, we felt there was a need in the industry and an opportunity to create a more modern, web-based, robust, integrated accounting and business intelligence platform. So that's how we got started, and I was fortunate to have a longtime friend who's a successful serial software entrepreneur. He sold his first company to Cisco in '99 for $175 million. And so he was our software and tech business advisor from the beginning. And he said, well, an accounting platform is daunting to build from scratch. So look at building on top of an existing ERP. And so my son, Chip, and I interviewed a number of different platforms, Salesforce, Intact, others, and then decided on the ERP that we would build on top of. So what we'll talk about in the next few minutes is choosing an ERP, advantages of being an OEM versus a regular VAR. So, and does everybody familiar with those acronyms? Original equipment manufacturer writes original code, the equipment. A value-added reseller just takes the product, configures it, but without writing any additional code or creating anything new for any specific vertical. So we looked for an ERP that wanted to partner with us, was one of the key things. And we found one. But so some of the factors, there's a typical royalty revenue split, and with an OEM status versus just a value-added reseller status, you can get a higher split of the revenue. Some ERP deal terms we'll look at: minimum royalty, fee splits, ownership and rights, and then managing the profitability, how that impacts the costs, what the ERP is contributing to your business, and the results. So building on top of an ERP, why would you do that? Well, first of all, as I said, an ERP is a massive project. Right now, the major ERPs, as Shaz just showed there, Oracle, NetSuite, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, they're all big companies. We didn't choose any of those, but I'll show you in a second who we chose. But these are the points we wanted to look for: broad, excellent general functionality, not necessarily specific functionality for our vertical. An ISV community, independent software vendors that are already integrated into that ERP that provide functionality that you can't get from just a standalone software like an accounting program. So in our world, in the hotel space, we compete with hotel-specific accounting programs, but they're not ERPs, and so they don't have a broad integration with lots of other software that you can take advantage of. on an ERP. So the independent software vendor community was a factor. Commitment to research and development, staying current, having an open API structure, automations and integrations. And then as an original equipment manufacturer, the original product creation basically came from our vertical knowledge of the industry. And so our broad knowledge from listing and selling hotels, from the real estate, the capital side, arranging the capital, the debt and equity side, as well as operations and having owned a hotel, gave us the knowledge. And then where we lacked, we just hired to fill in some of our weak spots. So with being an OEM, you own your own code, you own what you create, but obviously you don't own the ERP platform product. A value-added reseller provides configuration and training and support on an ERP, but they don't generally write any original code and don't own anything. And usually, and I'll show you in a second the splits, with being an original equipment manufacturer, there is a minimum royalty. As opposed to being a VAR, it's usually just a percentage split, so they don't have that risk of a minimum payment. But they also don't get as high of a split. So we have a minimum royalty and then also a percentage royalty on considered revenue. With you keep more of the revenue and you only pay royalty on the products built on top of the ERP, but you can build outside of that ERP as well, which is what we've done also. So these are some of the ERP systems. This is a usability index for mid-market ERP platforms. We chose the top one on the list there, Latka. They have a strategy of growing through partnerships, and they liked our depth of knowledge in this vertical, and so it's been a good fit. Again, just Acumatica's fastest growing global ERP. And this is the ISV ecosystem with Acumatica, so it just shows you there's a lot of them in all four of those categories. Not all of those are anywhere near applicable to our vertical, to the hotel industry, but half a dozen of them are, and we've have partnership agreements, and we can make revenue off of those. This is just a little snippet from our OEM software license agreement. The highlight, basically what we do, we adapted the Acumatica solution to develop additional modules. So we developed hotel-specific functionality and built that on top of Acumatica. Then we resell it as a private label, so our platform is labeled as Hotel Investor Apps. Typical VAR split is 50-50 up to that. It actually, a value-added reseller may only get 40% of the revenue, whereas a original equipment manufacturer can get 70 to 80%, depending on volumes. So this is the structure of the ERP partnership and important considerations. Development time excluded from royalty. When you're starting, it's going to take more time than you think. So try to get as much time prior to starting minimum royalty payments. Monthly or quarterly payments, revenue share, split, negotiating that, and percent that revenue share. You may be able to negotiate a declining percentage as you scale up with higher volumes. Fee splits, we don't pay any revenue to the ERP from our implementation and training fees. We only pay on the monthly SaaS fee. We own our code. Vertical exclusivity is something you can negotiate. We were not able to get it immediately, but we have a trigger to be able to do that and some control over if somebody else was going to enter using Acumatica into the hotel space. So we became the solution on the Acumatica platform for the hospitality industry. And we own 100% of what we built. So this is an example also. You want to avoid escalating minimum royalties and have a flat minimum royalty, of course, and as low as you can go, but all depends on the market and what you're looking at. Costs of partnering with an ERP, of course, the minimum royalty as a OEM partner, revenue split on the ERP revenue, but the contribution from the ERP, and one of the key things that we felt was it would give us a lot faster time to market and shorter development time, of course. An ERP generally has very low churn rate, and that's what we're experiencing. Far more functionality and integrated ISV community. So we had lower startup costs, quicker to revenue, royalty for ERP replaces the internal development and support costs. So it's not like we're just paying a royalty. We're getting something back for the royalty payments in support and continued research and development from the ERP. We also can drive more internal growth with applications built off of the ERP. So we also are developing on AWS QuickSight, a business intelligence platform like Tableau or Power BI. So we have some business intelligence tools that we're now just beginning to sell to our same customer base to double, potentially triple the annual contract value that we have from each hotel that we sell. This is the complicated mess that one customer sent us that they were using, which has, it's really about 13 different providers, but even more, higher number than that as far as applications and functionality. So they had an accounting program, our competitor in the middle. They were using a business intelligence tool called Profit Sword, a couple of their applications. They were using a BI platform called SciSense. They're using a payroll, human capital management software, purchasing software, Avendra iBuy. And then they were using other programs for some of the other accounting functions. Like fixed assets, purchase orders, inventory management, contract management. So instead, this is what we can offer, and we've built functionality on top of the ERP in here, and then we're building on QuickSight tools for operational anomalies, labor intelligence, pace reporting, which is comparing future revenues to where the hotel was same time last year. And we're building some other applications and business intelligence tools, again, off of the ERP. And then we're using the integrations. These are for categories of ISVs that we have agreements with that also drive some revenue for us. And then we pull data from these four sources, from the hotel property management system, from point of sale systems, and Smith Travel Research is a data provider in the hotel industry, and then from purchasing applications. So this is our current and projected revenue growth, and it may look like a crazy acceleration of growth, but there's a very long sales cycle for enterprise-level companies, particularly in the hotel industry, and we've been working on a lot of the larger companies for a couple of years now, and we have a significant pipeline of those companies where we'll be adding, 100 hotels. Some have 100, 200, 250 hotels. So that will enable us to scale up more quickly. And next year and the year after, the revenue from our business intelligence applications are going to equal or exceed the accounting piece. So that's our projection. That's why it's not just pie in the sky, but based on our sales pipeline right now. This is just a screenshot from the QuickSight business intelligence tool. We've built a labor analytics tool. So we're pulling data from a payroll time and attendance provider and then pulling that into QuickSight, and then we're using our financial data to create key performance indicators with the labor data in QuickSight. So, anybody have any questions? Yeah. What, 1 minute or two? Two. All right, cool. So that's been our experience of partnering with an ERP. You commit to the ERP with a minimum royalty, but in doing that and creating your own product vertical on top of the ERP, you have a much higher split of the revenue on that ERP. You can leverage the ERP capabilities, and with an ERP there are many modules, and so we have sort of a base product, and then we can upsell additional modules like purchase orders, fixed assets, inventory control, and contract management. Structure of the deal. Obviously get as much development time as you can, only pay a percentage on the ERP-based recurring revenue, negotiate your rights. Impact on revenue, some people asked, well, do you think this is going to impact your, an exit strategy? Will an investor pay less for your company because you're built on another platform? So far, all of the investor companies I've spoken to, that hasn't been a factor. Obviously the bottom line will be a factor, so only to the extent that it would impinge on your bottom line. But again, because it's replacing some resources you'd otherwise have to pay for, I don't think it's going to impact our profitability. So that's it. Any questions? Yes?
Just coding, how many people do you have in technology and what's your team?
Right. We started off actually with an outsourced team, and then we hit it off, and Ricardo's here with me, but now we're bringing their team of about 6 developers in-house. So we'd use them on a part-time basis and flexible basis more initially, but now we're accelerating the development. And again, we can operate a little bit leaner because we are built on top of an ERP, and then we host on AWS. Okay, thank you very much.